reigns.
I feel these Olympic gold medals can give me a lot of relax because finally I can be able to say to my family, to say to my father, come on, I just made a history.
To win an Olympic medal for their country is every athlete's dream. With an event that only occurs every 4 years, every shot, every game, every point counts even more. 4 years is a long time, especially for an athlete who is chasing their dreams since they first started playing their sport. Especially for tennis. During the Olympics, tennis is really intense. The schedule really requires an athlete to play every single day, and a lot of athletes actually participate in doubles and mixed doubles as well. So overall, it just made their schedule really hectic. And in our 50th episode of Tennis Traverse, I will be talking about the Olympic gold medalist, Novak Djokovic and Qinwen. So before we begin, please follow all of my social medias, that is Instagram and Twitter, using @TennisTraverse, that is @TennisTraverse. If you're listening on YouTube, comment, like, and subscribe. If you're listening on other streaming platforms, please rate my show. It really helps a lot, and I'm just really happy that I finally hit 50 episodes, and I have no plans on stopping recording this for you guys. I really have a lot of fun, and I'm switching up the intros a bit, so please tell me if you really like this intro, and let's get right into today's episode. So I want to start off with Novak Djokovic. Novak has won everything. He has won Australian Open for 10 times. He has won Roland Garros for 4 times. He has won Wimbledon for 7 times. He has won US Open for 4 times. He has won every single Grand Slam and almost every single tournament that is out there. However, he just wants that gold medal really badly for his country, Serbia. He's trained in his country ever since he's young, and the war-torn country really made him develop a strong patriotic feeling for it. So it's just something that he always chases. In 2021's Tokyo Olympics, he made it to the semifinal, I believe, where he lost, and he played in the bronze medal match, but keep in mind he also played in a doubles tournament. So he withdrew from the doubles tournament to just focus on a bronze medals match, but unfortunately he lost that match too. So the Olympic gold is something that he has always chased, and the Olympics is often really unpredictable, especially when it comes to tennis. Every time in tennis, players usually have a day of rest even. Every time they play, they rest for a day before continuing the other day because it's a great way for them to just rest up their bodies. However, in the Olympics, the schedule is super packed. A lot of players really isn't used to playing every single day with an intense tournament, and I think that's a lot of reasons why top players will choose to withdraw from the tournament, either because of an injury or just to preserve their bodies for US Open, which is the next tournament that is coming up. So I think everything is just really unpredictable, but to win an Olympic gold for your country is almost every athlete's dream. So let's just talk about Djokovic's journey to get to the podium. So Novak started off his Olympic journey versing Epton, who is actually a substitute, and Epton is actually a doubles player, so he played for Australia, and it was just really, I guess, easy for Djokovic. Djokovic won in 2 straight sets with a score of 6-0 and 6-1. The next round was a super highly anticipated matchup. It was between Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal. This is going to be the last time, in my opinion, that they're going to play against each other, and Nadal delivered by beating Fucsovics in the first round. So they met in the second round, and even though the match really isn't as close as what we used to be seeing of how just saving match points, saving set points, and this is just Novak winning in a simple 6-1, 6-4, Nadal said goodbye to his last Olympics, and he'll be retiring this year. So this was just, even though it wasn't super entertaining, so to speak, but it was just really meaningful, and I loved how they hugged at the end and how they celebrated each other for all their hard work. Our next match is between Novak Djokovic and Kopfer. So Kopfer is from Germany, and Koepfer played amazingly and he actually never gave up. So Djokovic in the end, after winning with a score of 7-5, 6-3, took off his hat to show respect to Koepfer. And now we're going to the quarterfinals, where matches actually get a little bit competitive. It is where we see a lot of the top players, such as the top 10 players, Stefanos Tsitsipas, Lorenzo Musetti, Casper Ruud, playing another top-seeded player, such as Alexander Zverev. So we have Djokovic versus Stefanos Tsitsipas for the final. And Djokovic won with a score of 6-3 and 7-3 in the second set tiebreak. So this was the quarterfinal, and during this time, I thought of Djokovic as being in top form because he's never dropped a set. And throughout this tournament, he never dropped a set. Even in the final where he played against Carlos Alcaraz, none of the service games were ever broken. However, Djokovic just proved to be mentally stronger in the tiebreakers. So let's go back to the semifinals. I want to also pay respect to Lorenzo Musetti. Musetti has been playing amazing since Wimbledon. He actually made it to the semifinals of Wimbledon, and he actually won himself a bronze medal yesterday against Felix Auger-Aliassime. So he's been playing amazingly, and Djokovic still proved to everyone that he's ready for that gold medal. He is ready to sort of finish his career with a gold medal. So he beat Lorenzo Musetti with a score of 6-4, 6-2. And now we're going to talk about the gold medal match. Novak Djokovic versus Carlos Alcaraz. This was actually a rematch from Wimbledon. So for those of you guys who aren't really familiar with the whole tennis thing, maybe you guys are new to tennis because obviously there's the Olympics, and the Olympics encourages you to watch every sport. So if you're not familiar with tennis, there are 4 big tennis tournaments. So in order, it's Australian Open, French Open, Wimbledon, and US Open. So these two actually played against each other in the Wimbledon final, which is one of the biggest tournaments before this. And Carlos completely dominated that match because Djokovic was just coming out of knee surgery. So Carlos proved to be amazing. He actually beat Djokovic in 3 straight sets. And this was a rematch, and I think a lot of people expected Carlos Alcaraz to win just because he's younger and he's in just better condition. He's had a better year. He won French Open, he won Wimbledon, and Djokovic surprisingly hasn't won any Grand Slam titles or any even big 1,000 titles, Masters titles even. So a lot of people were suspecting Carlos Alcaraz to win, but in my prediction, I predicted Novak Djokovic will win the whole tournament because I know how much a gold medal will mean to Djokovic, and I think that and along with his mental strength will play a huge part into determining who the winner is. And I think Alcaraz obviously has more Olympics that's coming up because of how young he is, but Djokovic, he's getting older, and I think this might be his last Olympics. So Djokovic won just like 15 minutes ago with a score of 7-3 in the first set tiebreak and 7-2 in the second set tiebreak. Both of these tiebreak, I would say that Djokovic just completely outplayed Alcaraz. With a lot of balls that Alcaraz tried to run Djokovic off the court, Djokovic would just reach it and hit a short cross-court angle, which was just beautiful. Especially as a tennis player, you can really admire how well Djokovic moves, especially after a knee surgery. And I think Djokovic has just played amazingly, especially in the tiebreakers, where if you really think about it, Alcaraz wasn't playing horribly. It's just Djokovic was managing to track down every ball, and Alcaraz, he did have some unforced error, and I think that's because of how nervous he is maybe playing for his country, but Djokovic just completely dominated. I didn't watch the first set tiebreak, but I did watch the second, and it was an amazing match. So if you guys want to, I suggest you guys go watch the highlights, and I will be linking the highlights of the men's match and the women's match in my show notes if I can find it. So if you guys want to watch it, please do. Yeah, and we'll talk about Zheng Qinwen, who won the gold medal for her country, China. So The word I would use to describe Zheng Qinwen's journey to her gold medal is surprising. I really didn't expect Zheng Qinwen to win this gold medal, not because I didn't believe in her, just because there was someone else who was completely dominant on clay. That is Iga Swiatek, who is also the world number 1. Roland Garros is a tournament where players play on the clay surface, which is also the tournament where the Olympic is played at. So in Roland Garros, which is also known as French Open, Iga actually won 3 times in a row. She had a total of 4 Grand Slam titles on that surface. And when I heard that the Olympics this year is going to be held at French Open using the same court that Iga won her 4 titles on, in my mind, I thought the game was over. I thought Zheng Qinwen, well, I didn't think anyone else had a chance of winning. I mean, Iga completely dominated in Roland Garros every single year, winning in straight sets every match. She beat Yasmin Paolini, who was her final opponent, with the score of 6-1, 6-2. So, she's completely dominant out there. And I just, to be honest, didn't expect anyone to just beat Iga on her best surface. So when Zheng Qinwen beat Iga in the semifinal, to say I was surprised was an understatement. I really didn't expect her to really go far in this tournament because I know how much pressure she is on to perform well, to perform maybe even just get a bronze medal. But for her to make it to the final was really just surprising to me in a good way because I really wanted her to do well, and she clearly did. So I want to talk about her journey maybe to the podium. So I want to start off by saying that I think there were 2 Chinese players on the women's side playing, and she is the one who ultimately went really far. So for her first round, she actually gave out a double bagel against Sarah Irani, who is a tiny player, but she has a lot of power in her. So Zheng Qinwen actually won with a score of 6-0, 6-0. And then moving on to the second round, she played against Alexa Bruz, sorry if I mispronounced the name, from the Netherlands. And Zheng Qinwen won with a score of 6-2, 6-4. And then she played against Emma Navarro, which is when the matches started to get a little bit intense. So Emma Navarro is an amazing player from the USA, and Zheng Qinwen lost the first set with a tiebreak of 7-9, won the second set with a tiebreak of 7-4, and won the deciding set with a score of 6-1. So as you guys can see, it was just really tight, and there were some conflict at the end. Emma Navarro just told Zheng Qinwen that she just isn't really a respectable player, stuff like that. But I mean, we're talking about the match here, so we're just gonna ignore the beef that goes on. But I think this really shows how tight this match is and how Zheng Qinwen really had to fight, especially in that tiebreak. Emma was 3 points away from winning the whole tournament in the second set. Now we move on to the quarterfinals, where it was also an incredibly close match. Zheng Qinwen played against Angelique Kerber from Germany. This is actually Kerber's last tournament, and after she lost to Zheng Qinwen, she retired. So we're so super respectable for Kerber because she made it to the quarterfinals in her last tournament, which I think is such a great way to just go out. But she played in the first round against Naomi Osaka, beating her 7-5, 6-3. She played against Jacqueline Christian in the second round, beating her 6-4, 3-6, 6-4. She then played against Leila Ferdinand in the third round, beating her 6-4, 6-3, where she met Zheng Qinwen in the quarterfinals and ultimately lost. But I still think it's incredibly respectful for her to just go out like this, because in the deciding set, Zheng Qinwen actually won 8-6, so she had such a huge chance of getting eliminated. I was watching it and I saw Kerber was up in the deciding set, and I thought, okay, Kerber's gonna win, so I actually turned it off. And when I returned back to it, I saw Zheng Qinwen receiving the interview. I was like, whoa. And I watched the highlight, so I think I will be leaving the highlight for this match for you guys if I can find it as well. And we'll talk about the next match, which is Zheng Qinwen versus Iga Swiatek. Still, incredible match, but Zheng Qinwen just, I think, was playing well, but Iga just wasn't herself. She really can't get any balls over the net, and it was just really weird and an off day, I think. But we move on to the final. I really didn't watch this final, I think, because I was doing college applications, but I preferred the Zheng Qinwen versus Kerber match better, but I'll still leave a link for you guys to check it out nonetheless. But I'm really happy that both players got to win their gold medal, and I think it really shows how much mental strength and physical strength they have, because they both said in their press conferences that their bodies are really tired, and I think that really makes sense because they've been playing legit every single day. But I think that sums up today's episode. I'm really happy that this is the 50th episode, and I really changed something up in the intro, so tell me if you guys like it. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and follow all of my social medias as well. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you guys next week. Bye!